Crazy, and I'm not gonna apologize for that. I'm at home, it's Sunday. So I'm just here to talk because I keep having weird experience as a hairdresser. So for example, I'm thinking back on it. I'm like, why do people seem to question my abilities? They have my resume usually, and they know what I say I can do, and I think they're just like, yeah, 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 whatever. So, anyways, I go to place and they always try to they're kind of more userish, right? They're always like, oh, how much do you charge? I get in there. Like, think about it. If you plan on keeping a stylist for a long time, you're not going to ask them stuff the day they get in there, you know, and start questioning them about where they get their product, which has always been now the bane of my existence. They always want to know, like, oh, when I go to an interview, they try to use me and like, oh, where do you get your product from? Where do you buy your hair extension? This and that. I'm thinking, that's one, I'm not telling you until you hire me, then you'll know. Second, they always seem strange. Okay, so I worked at a salon. This one is not manager related. It was like a black salon. And every time I did braids or something, and I know that most of the time I do chemical service and stuff, people would come in and the clients would be like, oh, you braid? Wow, you braid really nice. And I'm like, what? I don't know why they think it's like I'm incapable of doing these things, or I don't know what it is about me, or why they think. I know maybe it's just people's normal behavior, like, oh, you do this, I didn't know. And it's like, well, not because you don't see me doing it, because you're not there every day when I do it, doesn't mean I don't do it. Like, I had a friend I took to a place, a salon one time I worked at contract. She's like, oh, right, da da da. And I'm thinking, I do that. And she's like, really? Oh, and she's so fascinated. I'm like, well, she's like, well, I never see you do that. I'm like, when you come in, I'm doing your hair, so I can't do braids and somebody and color and cut at the same time. Plus, I'm doing your twin sister too, so it's usually both of them I'm doing, working between two of them. So I don't know how she would expect that I would be like, what am I gonna stop and do a full head of braid? Like, people just don't use their common sense. And even though she asked how long it took, so we had told her that it's like a full day work, so she knew that. So it's like, I'm gonna book a full day work and then book you. So I'm here doing the braidless sewing. But people are always acting strange. Like, so I worked at a salon, and all he did was talk about, oh, you're gonna make so much money, blah blah blah. It's just something weird about that him. I could tell he didn't like me, but he would like sit there pretend like he liked me, and he would just constantly say my name, like I don't know. It was the very strangest thing. So, anyways, one I used to do staff hair. That the place was good because two or three staff right away um, got me to do their hair and like paid me like not full price but like decent price. And there, if we did each other's hair, we didn't we didn't we didn't have to split it with the salon because it's just like you're just doing each other's hair kind of for promotion and stuff. So, anyways, I was doing this cornrow, and mind you, I was sick for about a year or so, so I wasn't in the salon. So everything, like when you're out of the salon, you're not practicing, you're kind of slower and maybe not as bomb, right? So he comes over halfway in between. Okay, so I'm doing like six corner. So I'm done like four, and I'm doing the last two. And he comes over and he's like, "Who did those?" I'm like, honestly, like I almost laughed because I thought he was joking. But this is just goes to show you this is always the kind of stuff I get. And he seems really stunned that I did it. And one girl comes to me, she goes, "Oh, you know, I know how to do cornrows too." And it was like, what? But the way they were acting, it was just like the girl was acting so insecure. She's like, I like you're not the only one who knows how to do that. And I was like, what the hell? And then we had an extension class, and I the lady says, who can do this method? And I was like, I can. So she's like, she wanted us to come up and like participate in like helping and stuff. Do you know the way people were looking at me and acting was like I killed somebody or I did something wrong? I was like, but just the hater and the envious ways they were acting, and I was like, huh? I couldn't understand the behavior, and they came up and they did stuff too. Of course, they didn't know what to do, so they were kind of like not doing it as good, right? But like I just like you can always learn something. Like even when I was there, they had some technique that was a little bit different, obviously. A lot of my technique I learned were like, you can adjust it, you can do things with your technique that if you know it's kind of like if you know the basis of color, you can be color creative, right? It's the same with hair extension. Oh, sorry. So, anyways, so today again, somebody said, do you know how to do this? And for me, I'm honest, and maybe that makes it sound weird. I said, yeah, but I haven't done it in a while, because it's also depending on where you are and what salon you're in. Sometimes you don't get requests for a certain thing, and also how the salon promotes you. If the salon doesn't promote you as an extension specialist or a person that does extension, then people are not going to know that you do it, and people are not going to go there and ask for it. People tend to go to places that either specialize or that they know for sure has like a bit of a name, or marketing about that. So it was like, it's like no matter what I say, it's always like, oh, you sure you know how to do it? And it's like, I don't understand, because the funny thing, it's like saying to somebody, you know how you do color, but every color that I've done has been on point and the client's been happy, but for some reason you're questioning my ability. I do not know why people act like that and where that's coming from. To be like, oh, do you know how to do that? And it's like, it's on my resume, and it's like, if I say yes, why are you questioning me? Why not just book the client? Why not just do what you have to do? But for some reason, I don't know what this is, and I'm probably gonna do some research on it. It's like whenever I work somewhere, it's like because they can't do it, they're always what's the word I'm looking for? Pro, projecting, and it's always like, oh, this nervousness, and oh, if and it's like, this is something I do I know you don't see me doing that here, but I used to do on a daily basis or a regular basis. So why are you tripping? Like, I'm not tripping. Why are you tripping? I'm not taking on stuff. Like, that's the thing with, I don't take on things, like certain things, everybody have their different opinion. Like, you might think, oh, that person is better at it or not. But I don't take on things that I don't know how to do. I have to have like a basic understanding on done it before or something. So it's just the weirdest thing. Like with the cornrow, I was like kind of confused. Like, I still up to this day, I'm like, is he for real? Because the other person looked at him like, huh? I looked at him like, what? Like, what does he mean? If who did it? Like, who else would be doing the cornrow? The person is in my chair. It's in the schedule appointment book that I'm doing this stylist hair. And he's asking me who do it halfway through and he's like, oh, I thought you, and then he asked another question. He's like, oh, I thought you were going to put extensions in. And I'm like, I did. But he thinks it's going to stick out and look like bad or something, and you're going to know. He didn't even know that I had extension in the hair, because I don't know what his expectation are. Maybe he's used to bad job. But he was like, oh. And it's like, yeah, with the extensions in the braid, we're matching the color, we're matching if you can braid. And it's almost like insulting, because I'm not trying to say stereotype that I should know how to braid because I'm black, but how dare you like question like my ability? Like, it's not like, it's not on my resume. Like, I think because people, and it's another thing too, like I remember, it's just weird. I remember I worked in Vancouver, and people were like, oh, who does your hair? I used to wear braids all the time in different like interlock. Well, we call it interlock back then. Now they call it crochet braids, which is my favorite. Like, I love it so much. So anyways, I one day went to work, and like we were allowed to do our hair if it wasn't busy. And I wore a hat because I didn't finish my braids. Like, my quarter section crown area, like this part, was left undone. But us black people, we know how to like put it into a ponytail and hide it or whatever. But normally you should do it in a circle pattern that you have the middle part you can hide. But I didn't do that. I just left the top out because I thought I had time to do it. Anyways, I went to work and I started to saying, I asked my boss, I was like, oh, can I finish braiding my hair or whatever? I think it was like normal that if we were slow, we'd just start doing something. And everybody was like, oh, you braid your own hair? I had been there for probably 2 years by this point. And I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that. Like, every time you guys ask me, I tell you I braid my own hair, right? I braid my own hair. So, like, and then they're like, whoa, we thought you were just lying. Like, okay, this is how I know people are not smart. look at the person's character. Do they lie about stuff? If they don't lie about stuff, why would you? Because you would lie about it means that the person is lying about it? No. They're like, oh, we didn't realize you really actually braided your own hair. We just thought you said that. I'm like, why would I? I was like, why would I say I braid my own hair if I didn't braid my own hair? But they were taken aback just because I wasn't even looking and I was just partying. And they're like, well, how do you part the back? I'm like, you feel? And I don't know. There's always this thing about like people that don't have skill can't understand other people that have skill. Like it just seemed like it's something confusing for them. And I remember the girl was like, "Well, how do you?" I'm like, I feel and I braid." And she was, and I don't know, maybe it's just a black thing where we're used to doing stuff. We're creative, and people are like so shocked all the time. Oh, you did that? Oh, how did you? And it's like, why would I say I do that? Like, why would you assume I'm lying? So there was like this big thing at work. They're like, oh my God, can you believe she actually did her hair? Of course, I was the only black person on my side of the salon. And I was like, wow, like you actually really think that I am saying I did my hair when like what, somebody else did it? And I would do like a lot of my friends' hair at home. And I did like one of the girls, she worked in the other salon. I used to always did her hair. So it's like you could see that evidence that I can braid. So like, why is it so difficult to think I did my own hair? Like, and I never forgot. I was like, so all this time I'm telling you I did my own hair, you don't believe me? So it was just weird. Anyways, I am just doing my braidless sewing right now. I'm using really, I don't want to say ratchet hair, but I'm using really old hair that I have. Like I always save my old hair to use it for play, like I call it hair play, which you're playing with your mannequin. And yes, I know how to do this stuff. Like I just don't do it every day. And I don't work at a place that seems to understand how to market stuff that they don't do. And it's like hard. I guess I have to do my own marketing. But yeah, like I do my own. I know how to do, like I said, over 10 method of hair extensions. Why would I say that if I don't? Like I do dread extensions. I do, what do you call it? Crochet. I do twists. I do braids. I do cornrows. I do almost all method. I do fusion. I do braidless sewing. Yeah, I do this stuff. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna have to do it on models and mannequins and post it because I feel like people, they're just like, well, if it's not on Instagram, it's sometimes I don't like to do that. I feel like that's for people that, I don't know. I feel like it's like somebody that's just learning, then they're always like posting every 5 minutes. Like, I feel like if you know how to do something, it shouldn't be a big fuss, and that's probably why nobody kind of understands or believes that I do stuff because they're like, oh, how can she do it and she's not like making a big fuss out of it, right? So I'm gonna show you. This is my mannequin. This is rough hair, so don't judge. And also, I only did like 3 sections. So here is my mannequin. Let me turn it around. It's just weird.